Okay, guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. All those posers out there are posing. Anyway, jumping right in, we have a T18, so Typhlosion number 18, first edition PSA 9, sell for $760. That is a downtrend. The last one sold for like $980, so this one down to $760. Did I expect a retrace? Yes, because the 10, I think I went over it the other day. The 10 sold for like $1,400, I think. So it wasn't that. It wasn't that much. Like it wasn't like a several thousand, like $4,000 or $5,000 thing that would justify $1,000 or $1,500 PSA 9 price point. So this one came $760, which if we're looking at the T18 PSA 10, even $760 is too high. It's only half. So I think the T18 either has room to grow, or the T18 should probably come down a little bit. No other card, as far as the starters of Neo Genesis, is worth that. For Alligator number 5 is close. For Alligator number 5 is the one that's about like $420. That was the last sale. Nice. But obviously the T17, Typhlosion 17, first edition PSA 9, that's a couple $1,000 because the PSA 10 copy minimum is worth $10,000. That's the last one sold for, and there's 10 PSA 10 copies, and 9 of them are accounted for, and they won't be sold. So there's only one that can be sold. Outside of that, we had a Charizard Gold Star, another record price, very, very incremental. We had like 1025, 1050, 11 something. This one sold for $1,250, so $1,250. PSA 8 for Charizard Gold Star. These are all English. We had a Magneton Fossil first edition PSA 9, sold for $55. This is still good. The fact that you can get one of the first 3 original sets, the base set, Jungle, and Fossil, PSA 9, it's a mint card for $55. Obviously, there's probably a lot of them. There's probably a couple hundred of them, but it's still under $100. It's still something that, like, oh, I can get that extra week's worth of work. Done. We have a Haunter, first edition PSA 9, sell for 108 doll hairs. That one, the 10's worth around a couple hundred. There's one going around with a PSA 9. There's an auction. PSA 9 Gengar. These are both for follow. PSA 9 Gengar, Hollow, and a PSA 10 Haunter. They're both first edition. I think there was at $300 something, and that should easily be a $500 buy because both of them, that Haunter, the PSA 10 will be a couple hundred, and so will that Gengar PSA. That 9 goes from $230 to $330 and anywhere in between. We have a Blaine's Charizard first edition PSA 8, sell for $482. Not a record price point. I think the record is like a little something there. Is like 5 something. I don't know what that is. It's anyone that want to question my tattoos. I have Yoshi. I have Nintendo tattoos. I have a little bump there. I don't know why I just showed you guys that. I'm sorry. So the Blaine's Charizard first edition PSA 8. The record I think is like 5 something. But this is still. It's very good. It goes about in line with the $1,000 price point. That is the 9. We had a Misty's Golduck first edition PSA 8, sell for $53. That I think is undervalued as well because we have a Misty's Golduck first edition PSA 9 from the Gym Challenge set, and that one is right now the current bid is $200. So minimum of that 8 should be $100. And honestly, that Misty's Golduck should be a couple $100, like $500. $400 minimum. The reason I'm saying $500 because there's one up for sale right now. Misty's Golduck first edition PSA 10. There's like 48 PSA 10 copies, or there's less than 50, and it's up for $5K. There's no or best offer. I offered the guy $2,500 because that's all I had at the time. If it's still in there in 2 weeks, I'm just gonna buy it because I need to. I don't know when the next one's gonna show up. Now, one sold privately for like $1,600. I messaged the guy on E4, like, I'll give you $2,500 right now. And, and I didn't want to be that guy, saying, like, try to undercut someone else, because it's not the right thing to do. Like, if something was sold, like, sometimes in business, you have to be a shark. And I wanted to, but the guy had some integrity. He had a lot of integrity. He said, like, that's a great offer, man. I can't do it. And that's what I do in my eBay store as well. Because I've done that. I've had Charizard sell, I've had raw mint card sell, and someone be like, oh, I'll give you $50 for that right now after I was sold for like $35. And again, it's a small amount of money. at the end of the day, it all drops in, drop in the bucket. But I said, it's the right way to do business. I can't. So after that, Sabrina's Alakazam, first edition PSA 8, sell for 62. That 9 sells for 120 to 150. That PSA 10 should be several $100s, like $600-700 minimum. And we have I got it for 400. Past that, Giovanni's Nidoking, first edition PSA 9, sold for $122. And that same thing, that there's another Giovanni's Nidoking on sale right now. It is, the current bid for the PSA 10 is like 200 something. Again, this minimum $400 card, I think, in my opinion. I'm going to try to buy, I don't have any money. I'm trying to buy Tesla right now, so I have the money to buy another share of Tesla. I technically have the money to buy two, but then I'd have no money, and I have obligations coming up next week for something as well, and I don't want to leave myself with no money. And also, it was like $790. It ended yesterday, Tesla, and then it shot up this morning because Fremont is supposed to be opening. For anyone that doesn't know, Tesla that has been shut down in California because they have it is a very liberal area. It's very educated. It's a lot of college, Silicon Valley. So there's a lot of schools over there. Just everyone's pretty far left, and I think that because although it's a really blue liberal county, it's a blue state, but especially that county, it's kind of influencing local politics, where the governor of California said, yeah, by all means, open up manufacturing. These like couple of things, like restaurants, salons, and manufacturing, go ahead, open. But because the county, when it comes to health, the county has override. They can't be looser in their rules, but they could be stricter, and they're being stricter because a lot of people on the left tend to think that this is like the end of the world, and I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Giovanni's Nidoking, that's a good buy. Even the 10. If you can get it for $400 now, I know there's some that are on there for $400. That's a great buy. That is a great buy. That is a $1,000 card in the future. Mark my words. Koga's Beedrill, first edition PSA 9, sell for $127. I think that's also, that PSA 10 version is going to be a $1,000 card in the future as well. It's already several hundred, if it's not 1,000 already. It's like close to, it's like $700-800 for that PSA 10. It's only 61 PSA 10 copies. It's very rare. Rocket's Mewtwo, first edition PSA 9, sold for $198. There is one up there for $1,000. Rocket's Mewtwo, first edition PSA 10. And that's a fair price point. It's not overvalued, it's not undervalued. That's something that's like, okay, yeah, that'd be the price point. And considering this price, that's on the lower end. From the 5 to 8, it fits in that. Price point. We had a Rocket Zapdos first edition PSA 9, sell for $172. I have an extra 10. Not selling it because that card's amazing. Anything Rockets is cool because when I was younger, and I assume with you guys too, when you see the Nugget Bridge, you go north of Cerulean City, you could defeat Misty. You don't have to defeat Misty at that point. You could just go and explore. Right after you beat your rival, Fartface, that's what I call him, there's the Nugget 5. There's 5 people on the Nugget Bridge, and if you beat them all, you get a Nugget. And then at the end of this bridge, and a Nugget can be sold for like $5. My hair's not doing what I want today. The Nugget, it doesn't have any value, like as far as you can't give it to a Pokemon and it'll heal them or it'll make them stronger. You just sell it. And it's really high value. It's 5,000 Pokédollars. So you beat these 5 trainers, and then the person that's supposed to give you the Nugget, he doesn't give it to you right away. It's like you have to join Team Rocket. You have to, and of course, like you beat him and say no, I can't, and then he gives you the Nugget after you beat him. But I wish there was a way that they could do it. Like, you remember in the Sonic game where you could be, the Dark Sonic character, or you could be actual Sonic. Like, I wish there was a storyline where you could be Rocket, where you could be, like, rise up through the ranks and just become a top Rocket executive. Like, and it doesn't have to be, like, evil. They could make a game in which there is an evil organization that's out there, and Giovanni, let's say he was an evil organization, and he left that, he started his own company to try to combat that, and the only way to do that was to make certain sacrifices. You can make it very, very mature and adult, and you could make it so that it really not tugs at your heartstrings, it makes you question what's right and what to do for the greater good. I've got to pitch Nintendo this idea because it could be really good, but you can't do that. They won't let you. So I always imagined what it would be like to be a Rocket member, and what Pokemon would I have? I would specifically train ground type Pokemon because that's what I like. Maybe some fire. Anyway, sorry about that whole tangent. I on for a couple minutes. Giovanni, the actual trainer Giovanni, first edition, PSA 9, Holo, sold for $103. That's a record price point. I don't know if the Giovanni PSA 10 is going to sell for a couple hundred. By my math, it should be 300. I don't know. That's what Blaine sold for 323 last week. We had the legendary beasts, all of them, Raikou, Entei, Suicune, Gold Star, PSA 10 from the Unseen Forces era. It sold $1,800. It's fantastic. That's such a good deal. Even if it's slightly above price point right now, you get all three. You don't have to wait. You don't. Oh my God, I'm tripping. You don't have to wait. You don't have to. All right, just try to spend the time to find an auction and snipe it. You don't have time, because prices are going to go up. Like whatever the price point that is right now, I don't think that will sell for under 1.7 ever again. I know it sold for 1.8. Maybe someone that really wants to get rid of theirs, they're in a bind because of the whole double plus cold, we'll call it. They say, I need some money. 1.7 will sell it right now. Outside of that, I don't think you'll see any lower price point because gold stars are always so rare, and three of them at once, it's great. But a Zapdos base set, first edition, PSA 10. My stomach. This one we haven't seen in a while. Anything that's base set, it hasn't moved for a while. And the boxes are moving. Or no, they're not moving. That's the thing. People are trying to get the boxes, base set, first edition, that are sealed. And someone's offering $80,000 for it. I mentioned this the other day. And nobody's biting. So what's the record price point? 95? 100? What's the next one that's going to happen? So the boxes are climbing, and the price point have been staying the same. So this one's a record price point. Zapdos base set, first edition PSA 10, sold for $3,500. So it's a record price point, and I still think that's undervalued because the boxes are and you could get, I think, a heavy pack first edition base set, if it's weighed, saying that's heavy with a good chance of a holo, I think for $1,500. $1,500, $2,000, something like that. And even if it's $2,000, that's, for something that you have to go in and grade, that, okay, even if you get the holo, most likely it's not going to be a 10, because these things are really hard to grade, especially nowadays. So it's insane. So either way, Zapdos base set, first edition PSA 10, sold for $3,500. I still think that's undervalued. Blaine's Charizard, first edition raw. We have this one guy, he sold a bunch of Gym Challenge holos. They were raw, all first edition. They were all in very good condition. Blaine's Charizard, I would have given that a very strong 9 or a weak 10. Sold for $9.95. Blaine's Arcanine, first edition raw. This should be a 10. There was a little bit of whitening, or not even white. It was like a little type edge wear, like a little on the corners. And if it was a BGS, it would have gotten like a 9.5, because or 10, or one of them would have been 9.5. Either way, it's very. If it was a 9, PSA is nitpicking, and it was the strongest 9 I've ever seen. Sold for $405. That is a steal. Blaine's Arcanine, first edition, that condition, steal for $405. Brock's Ninetales, first edition raw. That was a strong 9 as well that I would give it. Sold for $100. Misty's Gyarados, first edition raw. Same thing, strong 9. I would have given it maybe a 10. But it sold for $122. And then we had Misty's Golduck, first edition. I was the PSA 9. That sold for $85. That's nice. Giovanni's Nidoking, first edition raw, sold for $95. So that price point makes sense when the one that was actually graded to 9 sold for $122. $95, put it in there. You spend an extra, let's say $20. If you bulk order, and then shipping and everything. That makes sense. Dark Gyarados, first edition, PSA 10, pop 313 from the Rocket set, sold for $270. So something that is $313. $313 PSA 10 copies. It sold for $270. That's an interesting price point because it's a lot. Like you have cards in let's say Gym Challenge, because that's the one I know the best, that are like Giovanni's Nidoking. It's like 167 PSA 10 copies, and it is a little bit more than that. It's like 340, 350. This has double. All right, the Dark Gyarados has almost double the amount of PSA 10 copies as Giovanni's Nidoking, and it's within $100 of it. So Giovanni's Nidoking has a lot of room to grow because there's so much there's 156 less PSA 10 copies of Giovanni's Nidoking, and it's only $100 more. Such room to grow. Dark Charizard First Edition PSA 9 sold for $500. It was an auction, and it says like, and it started at $500. Like first bid has to be $500. So, as I said, or best offer. So someone, I guess, just offered the $500, and then the guy's just like, heck it, all right. I don't know if that guy was following much of what has been going on, because he probably could have got, if he started like a normal auction, probably could have gotten $600 something for it. But either way, whatever. I love you guys. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Okay, goodbye. Please like, subscribe. Just let's help grow the channel. Bye.